Hey everybody, this is Allie Good's World War II introduction. Today we're going to do a crash course on the causes of World War II. The first cause that we see is the rise of dictatorships, in which we see four men come to power: Adolf Hitler from Germany, Joseph Stalin from the USSR, Benito Mussolini from Italy, and Hideki Tojo from Japan. These four men are going to come to power through various means, through promising people relief from harsh living conditions and using nationalism to rally the people's support. The second cause that we see is the Treaty of Versailles, in which Germany will feel very bitter towards through the conditions set through the treaty itself. Number one, the treaty is going to remove the territories that Germany owned prior to the war. Number two, it's going to replace sole responsibility on Germany through the war guilt clause, thus having Germany owe $30 billion in reparation funds to the winners of the war. The third reason we see is military aggression. First, Japan will seize Manchuria from the Chinese. Number two, the Italians will invade Ethiopia under the leadership of Benito Mussolini. And finally, number three, the Germans will break the Treaty of Versailles and take over the Rhineland, which was ultimately theirs before World War I, but eventually they will also take over Czechoslovakia later down the road. The fourth reason we see is the failure of the League of Nations, which was an international peacekeeping organization that would not necessarily do its job. Number one, Japan will withdraw from the League after they were told to return Manchuria back to the Chinese, which they didn't do. Number two, the League did not enforce sanctions on the Italians when the Italians invaded Ethiopia. Nonetheless, the League made threats but had no backing. The fifth reason that we see is the failure of appeasement, in which the Western democracies wanted to avoid going to war, so they adopted a policy of appeasement by giving in to the demands of the aggressor. This allowed Hitler to take the Sudetenland as long as he did not take any other land. Unfortunately, we know this is not going to be the case, and Hitler would take the rest of Czechoslovakia and eventually storm Poland. The sixth and final cause that we see is the Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact, in which was twofold. Number one, to not fight each other if one of the others went to war. Number two, to divide up Poland and other parts of Eastern Europe as they conquered. Our conclusion is, with all six things working simultaneously together, World War II will begin September 1st, 1939, as Germany invaded Poland.